All right, good morning. We'll go ahead and get started. So first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to put in the chat a link to a folder that has a short video that I did giving some context for module 14, which is the practice module, which you may be interested in getting completed over time. It takes a while to get all of the practice module done. So there's a video that kind of gives some context, and then there's a text that also gives some resources. So, take a look at that, and then if you have questions, bring those on Monday, and we'll use, part of Monday to address any questions that FPMT recommends that module 14 be gone over um, during the module on karma, because almost all of the requirements of module 14 are related to the purification of negative karma. So having taken the module on karma, you have some basis for understanding that better than previously. So that was kind of why we waited until now to introduce that. But let me put that in the chat. It's just a link to our Google Drive folder. So, and again, just on your own time, you can review that, and then we will address any questions. So today, the retreat day for the module on karma, there is meant to be an emphasis on purification of negative karma. So, and so if there are questions, we will be um, doing both of the two main meditations that are part of Module 14 um, that are related to the purification of negative karma. One is Vajrasattva practice, which you may have some familiarity with because we offer it Monday through Friday here at the center. The other is 35 Confession Buddha practice, which we've done every once in a while. It's not a regular part of the schedule. It pops up now and again. The next time it'll be on the schedule is next July 28th, which is the next holy day. I don't believe it's on the schedule yet, but I'll talk to Lou today and we'll see if we can get it on the schedule the next couple of days. It'll be at 9 o'clock in the morning for an hour Mountain Time on July 28th, which is a Monday. And it'll be recorded. And there are recordings also on our YouTube channel. I'm pretty sure you can find at least a couple of recordings of 35 Confession Buddha practice. So we'll be doing both of those today. And then we're only going to really probably do two other meditations. So I think four meditations in total today. So it might be a little bit of a shorter overall day. We'll see. I know I've said that before, probably hasn't been true before, but we'll see. So, so you can decide, I'll let you guys decide. 35 Confession Buddha practice prostrations to the 35 Confession Buddhas. It's a more active, um, quote unquote meditation. It's a meditation in the sense that there's visualization, there is an attempt to be concentrated on, within the scope of the practice. So a meditation is something where an analytical meditation is something where you've got a boundary. You're meditating on impermanence or loving kindness, or, there's a boundary, there's things that are in the boundary and things that are out of the boundary. And you're intended not to indulge in distraction, meaning intentionally energizing anything that arises in your mind that is outside of the scope of whatever you've chosen. And so 35 Confession Buddha practice is a meditation in the same way, that it follows that same concept. But it does involve physical prostrations as well, which is, a little bit more, it was certainly substantially more active than a seated meditation where you're not moving, you're just sort of trying to be still. And so it's unique in that sense. So you guys can decide, do you want to do that before lunch or after lunch? Because it's a bit more, it's a bit more physical. Um, okay. Um, but whereas Vajrasattva, I mean, Vajrasattva can actually be combined with prostrations if you would like. It's not necessary. It is not a required aspect. Whereas prostrations, the 35 Confession Buddhas does necessarily involve prostrations, unavoidably. Um, but sometimes people add prostrations to Vajrasattva practice. Okay. Any logistical questions or anything so far? Yes.
I've actually never done a prostration. I've seen it, but I actually do not know how to do it. So I guess that would be the issue I would have.
Yeah. We'll go over it. And if we do it after lunch, if you Google or go on YouTube, Venerable Tupten Shodren has a recording where you can Google or type into YouTube Tupten Shodren prostrations, and she demonstrates. There's different kinds, so you can take a look at that um, as a kind of physical. Demonstration, but we can talk about it too, of course. Yeah. Any other? All right, so we'll go ahead and get started. So, first thing we'll do is we will set our motivation, and we will begin doing that with the prayer for refuge and bodhicitta. So we would try to adopt this mind of refuge. The mind of refuge is based on concern, concern for our own suffering, concern for the existential condition that we find ourselves in, where we're cycling in samsara, beginninglessly, and without intentional effort, that cycling continues endlessly. So we develop a healthy concern for that suffering, ours as well as others, that are the result of simply being an ordinary sentient being, being subject to karma and affliction. And then we develop, on the basis of that concern, we turn to valid sources of refuge, understanding that we need help, we need guidance, we need to turn toward those beings who are not subject to cyclic existence, who have transcended cyclic existence, who know the way out of cyclic existence. The Buddha, his teachings, the Dharma, and the community of practitioners who've realized his teachings, the Sangha, the Arya Sangha. So take a moment and generate those minds of concern and confidence. We'll support the generation of refuge and bodhicitta in our minds with the verse of taking refuge and generating bodhicitta. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the merits I create through listening to the Dharma, may I become a Buddha in order to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the merits I create through listening to the Dharma, may I become a Buddha in order to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the merits I create through listening to the Dharma, may I become a Buddha in order to benefit all sentient beings. And then we will recite 2 times the foundation of all good qualities. The foundation of all good qualities is the kind and perfect, pure Guru. Correct devotion to him is the root of the path. By clearly seeing this and applying great effort, please bless me to rely upon him with great respect. Understanding that the precious freedom of this rebirth is found only once is greatly meaningful and is difficult to find again. Please bless me to generate the mind that unceasingly day and night takes its essence. This life is as impermanent as a water bubble. Remember how quickly it decays and death comes. After death, just like a shadow follows the body, the results of black and white karma follow. Finding firm and definite conviction in this, please bless me always to be careful, to abandon even the slightest negative action, and accomplish all virtuous deeds. Seeking samsaric pleasures is the door to all suffering. They are uncertain and cannot be relied upon. Recognizing these shortcomings, please bless me to generate the strong wish for the bliss of liberation. Led by this pure thought, mindfulness, alertness, and great caution arise. The root of the teachings is keeping the pratimoksha vows. Please bless me to accomplish this essential practice. Just as I have fallen into the sea of samsara, so have all mother migratory, transmigratory beings. Please bless me to see this, train in supreme bodhicitta, and bear the responsibility of freeing transmigratory beings. Even if I develop only bodhicitta, but I don't practice the 3 types of morality, I will not achieve enlightenment. With my clear recognition of this, please bless me to practice the bodhisattva vows with great energy. Once I have pacified distractions to wrong objects and correctly analyzed the meaning of reality, please bless me to generate quickly within my mind stream the unified path of calm abiding and special insight. Having become a pure vessel by training in the general path, please bless me to enter the holy gateway of the fortunate ones, the supreme Vajra vehicle. At that time, the basis of accomplishing the 2 attainments is keeping pure vows and samaya. As I have become firmly convinced of this, please bless me to protect these vows and pledges like my life. Then, having realized the importance of the 2 stages, the essence of the Vajrayana, by practicing with great energy, never giving up the 4 sessions, please bless me to realize the teachings of the Holy Guru. Like that, may the Gurus who show the noble path and the spiritual friends who practice it have long lives. Please bless me to pacify completely all outer and inner hindrances. In all my lives, never separated from perfect gurus, may I enjoy the magnificent Dharma by completing the qualities of the stages and paths. May I quickly attain the state of Vajradhara. And we'll recite up again to the verse on karma, the topic for today. The foundation of all good qualities is the kind and perfect, pure Guru. Correct devotion to him is the root of the path. By clearly seeing this and applying great effort, please bless me to rely upon him with great respect. Understanding that the precious freedom of this rebirth is found only once is greatly meaningful and is difficult to find again. Please bless me to generate the mind that unceasingly day and night takes its essence. This life is as impermanent as a water bubble. Remember how quickly it decays and death comes. After death, just like a shadow follows the body, the results of black and white karma follow. Finding firm and definite conviction in this, please bless me always to be careful to abandon even the slightest negative action and accomplish all virtuous deeds. Okay. All right. So we'll move into the first meditation, which will be a meditation on the 10 non-virtuous actions, which I'm sure have been introduced in the module. So let's do our best to adopt a stable posture. So we think about keeping our feet flat and our back straight, torso open, hands in the lap right over left with the palms upturned and the thumbs gently touching. Our eyes are gently closed or slightly open, making sure we let in enough light to remain alert. Try to maintain an awareness of not slouching, not leaning. You also let go of any unnecessary tension or rigidity in the body, relaxing into a stable, comfortable, upright position. Just allowing the body to fall into place. And then begin to let go of attending to the outside world, allowing sights and sounds to be as they are without investigation, constraining your awareness just to the body and mind. And begin to concentrate your awareness in the present by attending closely to the physical sensation of the air as it moves into and back out of the tip of the nostrils. Giving yourself the instruction to notice quickly when anything other than that one physical sensation is arising in the mind, then without judgment or frustration, to lift your awareness up from those distractions and to place it gently but firmly again and again on the breath. And then take a moment to generate a broad altruistic motivation for your time, your energy, your effort, trying to expand that motivation to embrace countless sentient beings within the field of your practice. Taking a moment to get in touch with your own genuine desire to be completely free of suffering, to be genuinely, truly happy. And recognize there are no sentient beings who don't share that motivation. And every other sentient being has a claim to being happy, to being free of suffering that is equal to one's own. So there's no difference between oneself and others in this way. And so to work only for one's own benefit would be to waste this perfect human rebirth. So I think I must not only secure my own welfare, but those of all other sentient beings. And that depends upon the content of my own mind, my own genuine familiarity with virtue, and the degree to which I can separate myself from non-virtue. So we take that process of genuine inner transformation as the purpose of our time, to become of benefit to sentient beings. And then visualize yourself in a much larger open space. And in the space in front of you is Buddha Shakyamuni, surrounded by infinite number of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, filling all of space, along with countless sentient beings visualized in human form. And visualize light rays flowing from the hearts of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, entering into one's own heart, the hearts of all of the sentient beings surrounding oneself. And this light absorbs into you and all other sentient beings, purifying all negativity and obscuration, and carrying the blessing energy of the realizations of the stages of the path to enlightenment. And make a heartfelt request to be able to realize all of the essential points of the path in order to perfectly benefit sentient beings. And then begin to recall negative actions of the body, beginning with killing. So thinking back over this life, times when you took the life of insects, animals, and thinking too, even over past lives, with the understanding that certainly heavier actions of killing have taken place in the past. And those karmic seeds, those karmic potentials, are still present in the mind. Think too of your motivation when these actions occurred. Was there anger in the mind? Was there strong aversion, disgust? Was there strong ignorance, not understanding the relationship between cause and effect? Was there strong attachment? Wanting to get rid of something that was seemed to be bothering you, seemed to be interfering with your enjoyment. generate a clear recognition in the mind of these actions as naturally negative, nearly always motivated by an afflicted state of mind, the cause of one's own suffering. And then again, motivated by understanding that cause of suffering, being concerned about it, reassert your sense of refuge and your bodhicitta motivation. Recognizing that the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha can protect from that suffering. In particular, dying with a strong sense of refuge makes it impossible to fall down to the lower realms. And then generate a sense of regret, understanding these past actions as negative, and be strongly determined not to repeat them again in the future, at least for a reasonable, achievable amount of time. And then recollect instances in the past of stealing, taking the possessions of others, and feeling as though they now belong to oneself. Recognizing too that stronger versions of this have also been done in past lives. And take a moment to gain clarity on what your motivation was. Sense of self-centeredness that arose. Greedy, grasping mind. Understanding how painful it is. And generate a clear understanding of these actions as negative, as sowing the seeds of your own suffering. Again, on the basis of that understanding, again turn your mind toward refuge. And once again, be determined to avoid stealing again in the future. Now begin to reflect on any actions of sexual misconduct, any transgressing of boundaries, any harm that we may have caused in intimate relationships. Again, understanding that over beginningless past lives, more intense types of sexual misconduct certainly have been engaged in. And then again, develop a clear recognition of that harm as negative, as creating the conditions of your own future suffering. And once more turn toward those valid sources of refuge, protection. And again, be strongly determined to avoid any such harm again in the future. Then begin to recollect unskillful actions with your speech, times when you intentionally deceived others, times when you sowed division, discord with your speech, times when you spoke harshly, and times when you engaged in gossip. And again, think of what motivated these actions. And be clear about the interpersonal harms that they cause. seeing these patterns, these tendencies as, again, sowing the seed of one's own future suffering. And wanting to be free of that suffering, turning once more to the mind of refuge. And once more being determined to abstain from creating similar negative actions for a reasonable time in the future. Then begin to recollect non-virtues of the mind, thoughts of covetousness, desiring the possessions of others, thoughts of malice, wishing others to come to harm, and actions of wrong views, being closed off to the law of cause and effect, uh, the ultimate understanding of the nature of reality. Anything which is the opposite of the truth. Not having a doubt, but being unwilling to consider, being closed off. Try to notice again how painful those motivations are in the mind, motivations that generate those actions. Understanding the harm they cause to oneself and others. and searching for protection from that harm, reasserting your mind of refuge. And again, setting a determination to avoid similar non virtues in the future. And then recollecting the Buddha in front of you, visualize that he shrinks down to the size of the palm of one's hand and comes to the crown of your head, facing in the same direction as oneself. And the Buddha dissolves into light, and that light flows down through the crown of your head, flowing down to the heart center, where a tiny replica of the Buddha dissolves into your heart center. And your body, speech, and mind become inseparably one with the Buddha's holy body, holy speech, and holy mind. And rest your mind in that sense of unity. And then when you're ready, we'll come back together. Does anyone have any questions before we take a break? Mm-hmm.
How do we practice that on our own?
Do we read something? How do we cue ourselves to the next part of the meditation?
Sorry,
Right now, we look. Can
I'm
you
having
cue
a
it
little
up?
trouble with the audio.
One second.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
How do you, right during this meditation, you're cueing the next prompt for us. How do we do this without somebody doing this for us?
Um, well, so I mean, you know what the 10 non-virtues are, killing, stealing, lying, sexual misconduct, divisive speech, harsh speech, I mean, the 10 non-virtues are what they are. Um, so, and I think it's probably more practical in general to just pick, one, or two per day, rather than trying to, go through all 10. Um, but I mean, what was it in uh, it's in the, there's a document, the practice. Um, you probably have something similar in the practice document that is part of the, uh, let's see, let me take a look. Yeah, so in the practice manual in the materials folder of like the last class, the last actual class, you would go to like tablet practice module. That's a 38-page text. Um, and part two, meditations, page 24, is basically what we did. Any other questions? All right, let's take a 15-minute break and come back at 11:20 Mountain Time or whatever time that is for you. 15 minutes. All right, welcome back. So we can either do now Vajrasattva or 35 prostrations to the 35 confession Buddhas. So you guys can pick and tell me which one you'd like to do now, and then we'll do the other one in the afternoon, whichever one you don't pick. So you have to do both. You don't have a choice, but you can pick when.
I'm curious about the 35 Buddhas, but either way.
Matt, I think you're muted.
I would like prefer Vajrasattva before.
Oh no, Samantha's the tie-breaking vote. The pressure.
The thing is, I'm very indifferent. Maybe we can do the Bodhisattva first and then the prostrations after lunch.
Sure.
Okay.
All right. So try to adopt a stable posture. And then again, try to let go of thoughts of the past and plans for the future. Bringing your awareness into the present by attending closely to the physical sensation of the air as it moves into and back out of the tip of the nostrils. Again, giving yourself the instruction to notice quickly when anything other than that one physical sensation is arising in the mind. And then without judgment or frustration to lift your awareness up from those distractions and to place it gently but firmly again and again on the breath. And then we visualize in the space in front of us Vajrasattva, the Buddha of purification. And we'll screen share the image of Vajrasattva if you need assistance with your visualization. We visualize Vajrasattva in front, translucent, radiant, made of white light, adorned with precious gems, ornaments, silks, holding Vajra and bell. And we visualize ourselves surrounded by all living beings, our Father in this life on our right, our Mother in this life on our left, those who agitate, disturb our minds in front, and our friends and loved ones behind, and then strangers encircling us in all directions. And we reassert our mind of refuge. Recollecting Vajrasattva's prayers to be of benefit to sentient beings, to be able to help them to overcome their negativities. Then we generate the first opponent power of regret. Thinking back over this week, this month, thinking of actions of body, speech, and mind that were unskillful, that could only serve to bring about more suffering for oneself and others. Any action that we did motivated by ignorance, and think that as ordinary sentient beings, almost every action we do is mixed with ignorance, affliction, worldly self-interest, attachment to comfort, praise, wealth, status, reputation. It's been like that over beginningless past lives. Similarly, we struggle to maintain whatever levels of vows we might have taken. Refuge vows, bodhisattva vows, tantric vows. And we struggle to maintain a pure relationship with the Guru. And our spiritual friends. Directing anger at them, holding wrong views or non-devotional thoughts toward the Guru. Disobeying their advice. Try to generate the sense of these non-virtues as something to be strongly separated from. That which ought to be purified without even 1 second's delay. And we join that with an understanding of impermanence and death. I think that it's miraculous that our own morality karma hasn't run out. And we've woken up yet again in this life. But my death is certain, and its time is completely uncertain. I think if we died with these non-virtues in our mind, they certainly would ripen as suffering. So how incredible it is that I can purify these negativities, can cut off this continuity. I think that this practice is not only for one's benefit, but that the purpose of my life is to lead all sentient beings to enlightenment. Which depends upon my own enlightenment. And these non-virtues, if they ripen as suffering, will delay my enlightenment. So principally in order to achieve enlightenment swiftly, without delay, for the benefit of others, we engage in this practice of purification. So then we return to the visualization of Vajrasattva, thinking that Vajrasattva is inseparable from one's own root guru. Vajrasattva is the Dharmakaya, the holy mind of all the Buddhas, who is manifesting in this form out of his unbearable compassion in order to purify me. Visualize on a moon disk at Vajrasattva's heart stands a hung, encircled by a garland of the 100-syllable mantra, and a powerful stream of white nectar and light flows from the hung and mantra garland, entering the crown of my head, filling my body and mind, and I'm cleansed of all sickness, spirit harm, negative karma, and obscuration as I join that visualization with a recitation of Vajrasattva's mantra. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Deno Patita Dejo Mebawa Sutokayo Mebawa Supokayo Mebawa Anarato Mebawa Sarvasita Me Prayatsa Sara Karma Sutsa Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sarva Tathagata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Deno Patita Dedo Mebawa Sutokayo Mebawa Supokayo Mebawa Anarato Mebawa Sarva Siddhi Me Prayatsa Sarva Karma Susame Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sarva Tathagata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Deno Patita Dedo Mebawa Sutokayo Mebawa Supokayo Mebawa Anarata Mebawa Sarva Siddhi Me Prayatsa Sarva Karma Susame Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sarva Tathagata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Aum Pe. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Deno Patita Dedo Mebawa Sutokayo Mebawa Supokayo Mebawa Anarata Mebawa Sarva Siddhi Me Prayatsa Sarva Karma Susame Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sarva Tathagata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Aum Pe. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Deno Patita Dedo Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokayo Mebawa Anarata Mebawa Sarva Siddhi Me Prayatsa Sarva Karma Susame Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sarva Tathagata Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Aum Pe. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Deno Patita Dedo Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Mebawa Anarata Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Denopatita Dedo Mebhava Sutokaya Mebhava Supokaya Mebhava Anarata Mebhava Sarva Siddhi Me Prayata Sarva Karma Susame Sitam Shriyam Kuruhung Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sarva Tathagata Vajrama Memutsa Vajrabhava Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe. And visualize a final purifying stream of white nectar and light pour forth from Vajrasattva's holy body and mind, like a very, very strong shower, and completely cleanses from our mind, body complex, every single negativity, every single mental veil. These wash away completely through the soles of our feet, enter a crack in the earth, and are consumed by the Lord of Death amidst a blazing fire. He becomes completely satiated, his mouth sealed with a double dorje. He turns and walks away. A crack in the earth is healed, and our body and mind are completely clear, like crystal. From the crown of my head, Guru Vajrasattva says, "Child of the lineage, your negativities, obscurations, and broken and damaged pledges have been completely purified." And generate strong faith that all is completely purified, just as Guru Vajrasattva has said. For Guru Vajrasattva, I vow never again to commit those negative actions from which I can easily abstain, and not to commit for a day, an hour, or at least a few seconds from those negative actions from which I find it difficult to abstain. I think that Guru Vajrasattva is extremely pleased with your pledge. Vajrasattva melts into light and dissolves into you. And your body, speech, and mind become inseparably one with Guru Vajrasattva's holy body, holy speech, and holy mind. And then seal this practice with some recollection of emptiness, looking at all phenomena as not existing from their own side. And think there's no inherently negative action from its own side. No negative action with the subject alone. No negative action with the object alone. And then we'll dedicate thinking of the merits of our time this morning. Due to all of these merits of the three times, past, present, and future, collected by all the Buddha's bodhisattvas and myself and all other sentient beings, which appear to be real from their own side, but which are empty. May I, who appears to be real, but is empty, achieve Guru Vajrasattva's enlightenment, which appears to be real, but is empty, and lead all sentient beings, who appear to be real, but are totally empty, to that enlightenment which appears to be real, but is empty. By myself alone, who appears to be real, but is also totally empty, non-existent, from my own side. May the precious bodhicitta, the source of all happiness and success for myself and all other sentient beings, be generated within my own mind and in the minds of all sentient beings, without even a second's delay, and may that which has been generated increase. May I and all other sentient beings have Lama Tsongkhapa as our direct guru in all our lifetimes, never be separated for even a second from the pure path, which is greatly praised by the conquerors, the conqueror Buddhas, and actualize the complete path, the three principal aspects of the path, and the two stages of highest Yoga Tantra, the root of which is Guru devotion, within our minds as quickly as possible. Just as the brave Manjushri and Samantabhadra realize things as they are, I dedicate all these virtues in the best way, that I may follow after them. Whatever dedication the three times victorious ones gone to bliss have admired as best, in the same way I also perfectly dedicate all these roots of virtue, so that I may perform good works. All right, any questions before we pause for lunch? Yes.
Venerable, I'm curious, maybe you explained this in the video for module 14, but if doing that practice versus the sadhana, like Venerable Katie teaches it, is it okay for the Vajrasattva accumulations? Okay, because it's easier
Yeah,
to hold this visualization than the visualization in the other sadhana practice.
yeah. I mean, the key, there's two keys to it, which I do go over a bit in the video. The two keys are 100-syllable mantra rather than the short mantra, Om Vajrasattva Hum is the short mantra. It doesn't count for module 14. It's fine. You can do it, if you are really, really sick or something and you still want to do the practice and you just can't, or whatever, for whatever reason you just feel like doing a short mantra, great, but you can't count it for module 14. And it has to be in the context of the four opponent powers. So you also can't just recite the mantra, and you also just can't do the visualization and the recitation. It has to be in the context of a complete practice with regret, reliance, resolve, and the remedy. So the four opponent powers have to be part of the practice in order for it to count for module 14. But yes, the short practice, FPMT short practice, this text definitely counts.
Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh.
Can you send the link again? Looks like I lost it. I don't see it in the chat.
Mhm.
Or am I just missing it?
Any other questions? All right, we will resume at 1:30 Mountain Time. Have a good lunch.
Thank you.